Hi everyone! I'm exploring another new band today that is called the Cranberries. I have no idea where they're from. I can't really place that band name by its name, so let me read what I've got, then we'll listen. The Cranberries were an Irish rock band formed in Limerick, Ireland in 1989. Okay, well, I would have never guessed Ireland. If I had to guess, I would have either guessed, I don't know, Northeast US or something, but Limerick, Ireland, Cranberries. Okay, the Cranberries were one of the best-selling alternative acts of the 1990s, having sold nearly 50 million albums worldwide as of 2019. In their career, they won an Ivor Novello Award out of 2 nominations, a Juno Award, an MTV Europe Music Award, a World Music Award, and were nominated for a Brit Award and a Grammy Award. The music video for Zombie made the Cranberries the first Irish band to reach 1 billion views on YouTube. Oh, okay. Well, I am doing Zombie today, so I guess it's one of their big hits. Zombie is a protest song written by the lead singer Dolores O'Riordan, real Irish last name there, about the young victims of a bombing in Warrington, England during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and released on the 19th of September 1994. Let's see, which band did I do that was traveling in Ireland, and they kind of got themselves in trouble by making some statements in a performance and nearly caused a riot. I remember listening to it, and I remember reading about it, learning about it. I remember the experience. I don't remember the band or the song name right now. Maybe I'll put it in the description below if I can pull it up after I do this listen. But I remember it now because they were an American band, and they had no idea what sort of hot place they were stepping into, and made some crazy statements and kind of got themselves in trouble. Well, here is an actual Irish band writing a song about the Troubles and protesting that conflict. So I suppose it would be a little bit more, well, surely more to the point, as well as something that hopefully won't cause a riot. Zombie is a protest song written by the lead singer Dolores O'Riordan, classic Irish name there, about the young victims of a bombing in Warrington, England during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and released on 19th of December 1994. After O'Riordan's death in 2018, it became an Irish stadium anthem, first for the teams from the Cranberries' hometown of Limerick, and later for the Ireland national rugby union team, starting in the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Oh, so very recent. 2023 was just last year. This is so interesting to me that a protest song about a tragedy like a bombing becomes a stadium anthem? That kind of is a bit of a surprise to me. Well, as you know, I am not so much into sports, so maybe I don't really understand what inspires a stadium anthem. On the 23rd of November 1995, the Cranberries won the Best Song Award for Zombie at the 1995 MTV Europe Music Awards. Well, let's see how this sounds and what it was that was a protest song and then somehow became adopted as a stadium song? So, what a surprise with the voice. I don't want to be too stereotypical here, but it sounds Irish. It sounds like the kind of voice that would sing Irish traditional music. It sounds like, well, this isn't a piece of music that really sounds like the Irish folk music in many ways, but she's singing it as if she's singing a folk song, and it gives it a beautiful tenderness to it, and kind of feels very, very much like it belongs. The song, I mean. And I also enjoyed the introduction where it's quite subdued, but within that rather low placement of the instruments and not a lot of what we would call, catchy riffs. Still, there's a nice feeling of some melodic qualities just poking their head up every once in a while, enough to kind of catch me and hold me and pull me into it within this rather subdued instrumental framework. So this little guitar figure here is kind of shadowing or working off of the chorus melody. It's not really strongly linked, but I hear it, and I'm going to be paying attention to see if it comes back and try to connect the links a bit more. But I hear a sort of shadowing of the melody she was singing, and I'm noticing the shape of it, the descent. Da da dum, da da dum. It's moving downwards, moving downwards. This piece doesn't come across as something that is really mournfully presented. There's this lightness in her voice. There's this, but it's subdued. It's gentle, and as I said, it feels tender. It feels like there is a very special tenderness built into not just the lyrics, but the music as well. And I'll look at the lyrics in a few minutes once we get through the music, because I feel like there are several things that I want to touch on, but I don't want to be too distracted here. So I'm focusing on the music first. Here comes the guitar.
Silence
Well, I never thought that I would hear a song called Zombie, or a song that says over and over, zombie, 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 that I would feel something special about. But this happens to be that song. All right. I am going to talk a bit about what I notice in the lyrics, and then we'll come back to the music because they're so closely tied together in this piece of music. And I think that's one of the special things about it. I've listened to several protest songs from the US. I don't know if I've listened to a protest song from any other part of the world until now. This is the first, as far as protesting a conflict or anything like that. So, oh yes, I did. That was the Pavarotti and U2 Sarajevo. Yes. Bit different. But this one is also special in its own way. And what stands out to me about it in the lyrics, it is making it very personal. So it was specifically inspired by a bombing. I hate to say inspired by, driven by a bombing. And I don't know enough about the history to know how extensive that bombing was, but clearly lives were lost. And of course, the Irish Troubles were a larger conflict, which caused a lot of loss of life as well. And so another head hangs lowly. Child is slowly taken. I like the way that these lyrics use the sounds of the language. Another head hangs lowly. A child is slowly taken. And the violence caused such silence. Who are we mistaken? The music within the lyrics, lowly, slowly, taken, mistaken, violence, silence. And it's not just rhyming at the end of the line. I like it when lyrics, poetry digs a bit deeper than just coming up with a rhyme to stick at the end of each line. But you see, it's not me. It's not my family. In your head. And here, I want to start bringing the music into the discussion because this is one of the things that is sung over and over. In your head, in your head, in your head. Driving home the fact that it's not about me. It's not about my family. The problem is not me or us or that family, any family. It never uses they or them in here as far as I can see. It never places it as a they or them problem. It's about family. It's about me, us. And that me and that us can be whomever on any side. And not just about me and us, but a child, a mother. The closest bonds of family love and connection and affection are what are focused on as being destroyed here. And the violence caused such silence. It's not talking about all the horrible chaos and noise that comes with this destruction. It talks about the silence that it brings. The loss of a life means that there's a silence there, an emptiness, a gap, a removal of a voice that should have never been removed. And it's not me, it's not my family. In your head, the trouble is in your head. The problem, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their guns. I love the way it repeats. With their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. Kind of repeating that bombs idea. Well, of course it was a bombing that brought this piece of music into existence. But the kind of repetition of some element of warfare kind of drives it home that bombs and bombs and bombs and bombs and more bombs. Why do we have to have bombs and guns? In your head, in your head, in your head. The problem is in your head. But I don't feel like it's blaming you, the other side. I feel like because the question, who are we mistaken? We must be mistaken. It's a discussion about us as a society and we as a society and my head, your head. It's making the loss personal to me. So clearly it has to place you as, you know, the one where the problem in your head is. But it doesn't feel like it's putting blame on another side. It feels like it's calling me and you and all of us to look at what is in our heads. What do we believe? What do we think about the world, about society, about the other side that makes us willing to do this to us, to the child, to the mother? It's the same old theme since 1916. We're going way back now. And they're still fighting. Oh yes, I guess there is a they in there. They're still fighting. With their tanks and their bombs. I missed that somehow. I overlooked it. But still, I feel like the they is not so focused on. It's us. It's the society. It's we. But not just that. This is even more beautiful. Their tanks and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are dying. There is a they that is bringing it again around to this idea that they are not the problem either. They are dying. The victims happen everywhere. And the they is not the problem. The they is the victim just as much as I am the victim. And I love those things being brought out in the music. And then, okay, let me talk about this zombie. It's kind of making what's in your head, kind of turning you into the zombie, the evil thing that is coming and destroying, and you can't even do anything about it. It's who you are, but it's our whole society has become a society of zombies, of these creatures that have no heart, no soul, no feeling. It's just in our head that we're creating this mess, and at the same time, another mother's breaking heart is taking over. And so I love all of these ideas brought in here. And as I said, a song that uses zombie, that has the title of zombie, I never expected to really connect to, but I do to this one. Now, going back to the music. I like the very folk quality of the voice. I think it's beautiful, and I think she does a beautiful delivery of this song. And one of the things that stood out to me, we can just listen here at the end, when she sings, oh, 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 and she's switching between passaggi in her voice. Then there's this sort of break, and it starts to feel like she herself is crying, like we're hearing the sobs and the cries of those who have lost their loved ones and been injured. And that also is such a beautiful way of bringing this in and making it so direct, so to the point, and yet not, I still don't feel like, it doesn't strike me as blaming the other side. I feel like it's calling society as a whole to reflect and stop and think about, what do we believe and what do we think in our foolish, empty heads that would cause us to do such horrific things? But listen to this, the way she sings, oh, oh, oh. we go. I don't know if you can hear it as clearly as I can hear it, but to me it sounds like such a clear communication and representation of the sadness and the crying and the heartbreak that comes with conflict and warfare. And then, of course, at the end, we come back to this very subdued, subtle, out of the way. It stays low down, but there's a melodic element to the bass as well. And I noticed it at the beginning. It came back several times throughout the music that it really stood out to me. And this ending, it stepped in again after the singing finished. And so I want to just kind of remind us of this as well. And you find that it also follows the same contour and shape as a lot of what we're hearing in the rest of the song. Clearly here, maybe more clearly than anywhere else. And so that melodic element of the bass line also is one of the things that makes this have kind of it's almost impossible to put your fingers on it, feeling of tenderness, specialness, but even the bass is singing with this song. And it ends up coming out like it does. Touching, tender, calling us all to look at what's in our head and what are we doing to this world. One last comment about the lyrics. Back to this, another mother's breaking heart is taking over. And contrasting that with zombie, 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 what's in your head, what's in your head. The idea that the heart finally takes over, finally rules, finally steps up to where it should be, and overcomes the zombie effect when it strikes so close to home. And if only the heart can take over for all of us and overcome this zombie effect, then that would solve a lot of the problem that's forcing the heart to step in only when tragedy strikes. Really a beautiful song. Musically, it's quite simple, but I love the delivery. I love the balance of it, and I love the way it approaches this whole topic. Not violently, tenderly, sensitively, and calling us. It's not screaming out in protest in the way that some of the protest songs have done. It's not making us face the shock moments of violence, but it's making us look at really, really the core of the damage that's done. And in that regard, I think it's a very effective and even beautiful piece of music, because it calls us back to the heart. It calls us away from the prejudices that we have in our heads and says, look, let the heart take over. And please let the heart take over before we destroy everything. Well, that was my first exposure to the Cranberries, and a very eloquent piece of music, Zombie. I still can hardly believe I'm enjoying a song by the name of Zombie. I'm curious to see what else they've produced, and perhaps, something on maybe a lighter topic or a different topic. It would be very interesting to me to explore a bit more of their work. So I'm sure I will at some point in the future, and I'll see you soon.